Minecraft AI tournament. My name is Shonko from Making Computer Do Things, and I will be your host this week. After Nepeta's 2-week excellent quests, I'm returning once again. So without further ado, let's get into it. Our first match of the day is Microwave versus Crazio. As you can see here, or you can't see here, but Microwave is actually disabled on the SSAIT ladder, so this replay is from the Basil ladder, which is another great resource if you want to develop your bot and test it against other bots. But let's get back to the game itself. Crazio is a very strong Terran bot, playing on the ladder for years now, for a while, holding the top one spot, being the one and only, but then times changed and new challengers came. Still, he is a formidable Terran opponent, very strong mech builds, and not just mech, I believe, but mostly known from its excellent combined arms approach. While Microwave is a fork of Steamhammer, many bots share that quality with him, her, it, and evolved a lot during the years. As you can see, he started with the spawning pool, then expanded to the natural and trying to wear down the Crazio's base with Zerglings, but the wall is, I believe, firm enough. There is one bunker, and let's take a look how many Marines, 4 Marines. I suspect that Crazio will develop the mech army now. Now, production tab can give some hints. No, that's an academy, so that actually means that it will be a Pio build, at least at the start. Switching builds is not unheard of for bots, but most bots try to perfect one build or just a few, and execute that as well as possible, which is no easy feat. And it seems that Microwave is quite committed to Zerglings, although I expect now that the lair is almost finished that we will see a Spire and some Mutalisk harassment in the worker line. That is also a strong suit of Microwave, I believe, and many Zerg bots chose to go on that route. And yeah, the first few medics are out from Crazio. Let's speed this up because nothing of importance is happening, to be honest. And the Bio contingent, I don't know if that's the whole army, I don't think so. There must be a few left in this bunker, but regardless, the army is on the move, or at least on the move until the expansion. I fear for Crazio's troops a little, because this many Zerglings on open ground can easily take that small bio squad, but now the bunker is on their side. Bunker is a great ablative hit point resource for Marines, but they are not as sturdy. So yes, the first Mutalisk has arrived. Nice worker pool from Crazio. All the workers just go to the natural to mine, and basically unbothered by the Mutalisk incursion, which is just one Mutalisk anyway, and a few missile turrets can easily handle that. Missile turrets are good for fending off early aggression, but late game they fall off a lot, along with, well, any and all static defenses, to be honest. But their function is not to win with just to hold the base. And Microwave's Mutalisk, as you can see, excellently picked the spot where they couldn't be reached. It's a shame that they don't keep that. I don't really see that behavior from many bots, that they try to reach their objective work or something. They don't really take the free shots like this factory here. That could be easily sniped. I think these towers, missile turrets, give good coverage for Crazio, and let's slow this down and see other things on the battlefield. Vulture is out, and with perfect micro it hunts down this Zergling army. I think it is not damaged yet. No, it is not. I don't think mines are researched for Crazio. No, they are not. And they are not under research, I believe, which is strange, as Crazio usually seems to be fond of mines. In the meantime, Microwave is just expanding without any punishment, I feel. he maybe should put more emphasis on that. Microwave has a lot of money, and it seems that he is just waiting for the gas income to make more Mutalisks, which is commendable, but if you have this much money, you can afford to make a few more hatcheries, and you should make a few more hatcheries, maybe a lot more, I'd wager. And the first few tanks are out, siege mode researched, and still no mining research, or mine research rather, for Crazio. Let's see what else is going on. A few Hydralisks are out, I don't really know what for. Zerglings are better versus Bio and tanks, I believe, so these Hydralisks are okay, but I don't really know what is Microwave expecting here, if he is expecting anything. But maybe he is just working with static army composition. There is harassment continuously going on, but Microwave does not want to commit, here. One Goliath is out, protecting the flanks, but this many Mutalisks is just stronger than one Goliath. And now Crazio's base is in kind of a peril, because Mutalisk count is steadily rising, and it seems that Crazio is not making many more air defense. A few more turrets could easily fend off this relatively small force of Mutalisks, but Crazio, I feel, just minding the coverage of missile turret and not the amount of them. I would be very curious how cost-effective missile turrets are. I believe they are quite handy for the 75 minerals they cost, but usually the problem is they are immobile and usually not grouped together in large numbers, and as you can see, quickly can be burst down by these Mutalisk clouds. And another expansion for Microwave, and this is just getting worse and worse for Crazio, since Crazio will eventually run out and he's kind of locked into this base. And where is Crazio's army? What is Crazio spending its money on? It is baffling me a little bit. The Bio army is not really engaging now they are. There are only 2 tanks and 2 Goliaths. Maybe the income hit was quite significant and Crazio just can't get on its feet. Maybe it's just confused about the happenings. I do not know, but it seems to have confused Crazio a little bit, and Crazio is not allocating enough defense right here, right now. The starport is still abandoned, and basically Microwave can mine out the base, or the map rather, without any repercussions. And not to mention that Microwave's land army is growing, and since he is not probing into the tank line, the land army can grow in peace. These Mutalisks doing the work, and I'm pretty sure Crazio could handle that. He has the means, but not enough focus on this front. And this is getting seriously bad for Crazio. This is hurting the income, and eventually that can cost him the game. Let us speed this up once again, because I feel more of the same is just repeating over and over again. But this is not done yet. Crazio can still recover, but I feel the war of attrition is won by Microwave at this point. The main base is not mining. It is not mined out either, but it is not mining. And there are too many Mutalisks now. Too many Mutalisks, and the Bio army is not really engaging, or not engaging effectively. I don't know what is the exact problem here with Crazio's Micro. I think the thing that confuses Crazio's units is the Mutalisks retreating and coming back. Then the army seems to have a mind of moving out, but then the Mutalisks return and the army returns to defend as well. But in the meantime, Mutalisks have free reign over the base, and that is just bad. So it seems that we have a chink in the armor of Crazio's defense, and I'm gonna call the GG soon. Let us speed this up a little bit. I think it is reached the point where it's a foregone conclusion that Microwave just has this game, in the bag, and yeah, that is happening. Worker count is plummeting. Microwave has half of the map, and nothing is stopping Microwave from taking many more bases, and the land units finally overrun this forward base. Natural steel mining somewhat, but it is not enough to recover, and yet the sweet salvation of Zerlings has arrived, and I think this is the end. GG, and let's look and jump into the next game. So the team for today is versus Crazio, it seems, and the opponent this time is Locutus, the unstoppable Protoss bot, currently residing on the #1 spot on the SSE EIT ladder. I'm very curious how this turns out, as lately the SSE EIT ladder has been suffering from a lack of updates, and we all know the cause of that is just preparing for AIIDE, and many authors don't want to release their updates so their opponents cannot prepare and form effective counter strategies against them. It is a fun metagaming experience unfolding, since there aren't that many bots on the ladder, and you can just custom tailor your strategies against each and every one of them. If and when, I hope soon the number of bots will drastically increase, that will be no longer a viable strategy and an efficient allocation of development resources, but still this is something that can be done. Even if most of the bots don't have opponents specific strategies, they do have counter strategies for common builds, and a lot of bots just share common builds, and revealing that your bot have something and has the capability of to counter something is disadvantageous in the next tournament. Well, anyway, let's get back to this game. We saw this proxy 2 gate attack by Locutus, but it seems that the early Zealot pressure is not panning out that great, and in the meantime, nice walling off by Crazio. I would bet that this wall is Zealot proof, meaning Zealot can't walk through it, yet Marines can without impunity. And 4 Marines available, that means 3 of them should be in this barrack, and the first Vulture is out, and with a micro that a bot can do, Vultures are deadly versus Zealots, and the Zealots don't dare to engage. I wonder why they are doing the walking in and out thing, but in Locutus's case, the engaging and disengaging seems to be a little well thought out, little better thought out than it is usual, because in both games you see a lot of going into and out of range, and that is just detrimental to your army's health. And in Locutus's case, he seems to just skirt on the edge of the enemy range, and when engaging, committing in sufficient force, and we just saw a counter example of that, but yeah, this is a skill that is very hard to master as a bot author, and I would like to see, and I'm seeing, to be honest, a lot of advancements in this area. A human player would never do this kind of movement, but many bots do. So, back to the game yet again. Sorry for the digression. There are a few Vultures out, and Crazio is nicely leapfrogging the tanks a little bit, and I don't know, this is meant to be a move out. Yes, this is meant to be a beginning of a move out maneuver, and with the Vultures screening and the tanks providing heavy artillery cover, Crazio will just zone out the attacking force soon. And in the meantime, let's slow this down and let's see what is Loquitus up to in the home base. There is a Citadel of Adun, and let's take a look at the production tab. No Templar Archives as of yet. I would have expected a Dark Templar switch here, but Crazio is kind of prepared to that. There is a comset station. It is drained though, that means that Crazio has scanned Loquitus's base, or well, some places on the map at least, because I don't know if Crazio's scouting SCV has found the base of Loquitus or not. I saw the SCV in the bottom left corner a while ago, but I don't know if it visited the main base of Loquitus or not. Likely it did so, because at that early you just can't prevent that. And now the vultures are at the natural, and they can very quickly and effectively kill your worker lines, so you should be aware of that. Further zoning out by Crazio is going on. Mines are very effective, because even if you have detection, you must spend the time and precious shots to clear the mines up, while likely you are in tank range. And vultures are in a bit of a bind because they got cornered, but still they are cheap and plentiful, and if you kill 2 workers you already got your money back on the vulture, so it's not a big deal if you lose one. And as you can see, if you can kill a zealot, it's all the better. They are a very cost efficient unit, but they just can't do anything by themselves. So the battle is a little bit hectic now. There is no specific front line to speak of. That tank is dead, I believe. Oh, maybe not. There is repair, there are vultures, and these dragoons do not engage, which I feel is a mistake, because this tank is literally 1 or 2 shots away from that. Well, not any longer, but oh, this micro just hurts my eyes, and this is bad. You should engage or not, but do not linger in tank range. And this is uncharacteristic, as Loquitus does not seem to do such wasteful engagements that often. Well, it's not Loquitus's day, it seems. A lot of dragoons and zealots were lost that day, but Loquitus has 3 bases, while Crazio has only 2, which is an advantage, and I would say the two players are pretty much equal at this point, and it boils down to grand strategy at this point. Crazio is well off, and Loquitus is not really breaking Crazio's lines, and I don't see that changing if they keep this micro, which they likely will, because they are programmed to do so. Bots are not known for their intuition, unfortunately. I wonder if any bots have some kind of random, let's just risk some stupid thing logic in them. Well, maybe we will find out. And Loquitus is doing more of the same, while Crazio is just pushing forward. Tank line is very much behind. I don't know what is the cause behind that, and not moving out. Maybe he's expecting a big attack, and well, a big attack is coming, but you siege up. Yes, you will siege up in time. This bridge is just a very good defensive position, and Loquitus don't dare to engage. Although there are quite a lot of zealots, and I feel you could reach the tank line before dying, but Loquitus is not attempting to do so. Now we have Templar Archives and yet more gateways. Let's see what's in the works. Well, not much else. Is there any? Yes, there is expansion underway, but I feel the vultures will take care of it. Or not, because the dragoons arrive in time, but still this is a threatened base, and you can't begin mining operations until you cleared it up. And yeah, this is still a standstill. Crazio inching forward, but no one taking this base for the time being. And Crazio is still not expanding. He's quite well off on 2 bases, to be honest, and that's a dropship. And I wonder what this dropship is what's that dropship's gonna do. It is a shame that we can't see inside dropships, otherwise we would have some idea of the contents of the drop. Yeah, that was a very evident sentence, but yes, so I don't know what Crazy is gonna do, where and what is planned to be dropped. So, and tank line up again, and this time many more vultures. Vultures can effectively shield the tanks for quite a while, and I don't see how Lokitus is gonna break this. Lokitus, you need something else than your gateway armies, although this is a quite strong charge right here, right now, and it can break the tanks, not if you pull back though. That is a mistake, because effectively all the screening units are gone. You should have committed Lokitus. Oh no, and there is the dropship. What is this dropship doing? Maybe just scouting. Or will we see a drop? Not likely. This game is getting wacky. In the meantime, there is an encircling maneuver by Lokitus attacking at the rear. I quite like this. I find it always amusing when bots have multiple army groups or multiple maneuvers in the works, and I realized that might be not the case here. It's probably the same army just circling around, but anyway, attacking at multiple fronts at once is always a good thing, always an effective thing, but Crazio is just prepared. There are approximately 1 trillion spider mines everywhere, so it's not like Crazio will be taken by surprise, and the mech army is just growing. Now the army disparity is even more. Crazio is ahead with 100 army supply, while Lokitus is just at 64 at the moment, and the lead of Crazio is growing. Although curiously the supply is not that different, and as you can see, economy-wise, Lokitus seems to be better off. More bases and more workers, and 2 more bases are taken, but he is too hesitant to engage and just not using the units that well, I'm afraid, and that is an interesting sight to behold. So now the great engagement is underway. That was, I believe, yes, that was a defensive matrix on one of the vultures. Very nice damage soak for the front line, and as you can see, it cost Lokitus dearly to break this tank line, and well, he didn't really break it, did he? So a few zealots broke through, and well, the first group of tanks were slain, but there are many more coming, and let's take a look. 18 tanks are currently in the fighting line, and Lokitus basically has a token army as of now. Although Lokitus can very easily replace, because he has a lot of gateways, and yeah, you should engage, and that's a very nice zealot engagement. I feel many tanks will fall here. Well, nice defensive matrix. 2 vessels ahead, no energy for the vessels though. I couldn't quite make it out if Lokitus switched targets after defensive matrixing. I seem to think, yeah, it seemed to me, well, that he did, but I don't actually know. But at that point, it's of not much importance, I feel. Attacking zealots on a tank line have only a few attacks to deliver, and well, they must deliver that to the right place at the right time. And this is the beginning of the end. Lokitus is just marching the zealots into the tank range, and just absolutely getting devastated. I don't see a recovery from this. Let's speed this up a lot. This has been interesting, but I think we all know how this will play out. A brilliant attempt from Lokitus, and macro-wise he was ahead for a long time, but failed to capitalize on his advantage. I feel the anti-mech micro of Locutus leaves something to be desired at this point, although this is just one match and this is not a telling one. So nice work from both authors, and let's jump into the next game. Crazio's next opponent is Beta Star, a bot by Nanjing University of China. Well, not the university itself, but some students to be precise, but anyway, and it is a Protoss bot making a quite strong play for the crown, but still a little bit behind to do that. It is a strong bot, I must admit, and approaching the top fast, but it is not the number one and needs to work on its well play a lot. And Crazio, starting with the fast expand on its natural, this map lends itself to that because as you can see the natural is easily defended, and there is also a line here that is a choke point. Well, I could have just said there is a choke point here, but anyway, and yeah, let's get back to the game. 2 gateways and the cybernetic score, scouting SCV getting killed, and first skirmishes are going on. A nice pull to repair from Crazio, and in the early game it is important to keep this bunker up because as long as the bunker is up, the fighting effectiveness of Marines are remaining the same. And 3 Dragoons just broke through. Nice run by, I liked it a lot. It is just completely sidestepped Crazio's defenses, but this attack will be repelled, I feel, but a lot of mining time is lost, and these 2 goons are relatively unhurt, I feel. And I'm not really sure about my earlier statement anyway. So no, this attack will not be repelled, and additional goons just snug by and absolutely devastating the worker line with stepping back and forth, and they effectively block the workers. And I think this is a very quick game, and yeah, you can defeat Crazio with these sneaky goons, and not much you can do. There is basically no mining going on, and on the Beta Star side there is nothing stopping him from making more and more goons, and basically it's over. So very nice play, very nice, sneaky, cheesy, and ultimately victorious build from Beta Star. GG and keep going. Up next it's Banana Brain versus Purple Wave. Purple Wave, the winner of many tournaments done by the wonderful Dangan, and Banana Brain is just a long-standing and very strong Protoss bot. And if you feel that in the top few bots there are a strong Protoss bias, then you are absolutely right. Protoss bots seem to dominate the scene as of now, with strong mech Terran or Terran, and with mostly mech builds, I should say, lagging behind, and Zerg is trailing off a little bit. We speculated a lot of why that might be, but let's not dwell on that, just enjoy this bout between the 2 giants. So, a gateway, cybernetic score for Purple Wave, and where is it? Maybe that's this building. Yeah, probably that building. And in the meantime, no, there is a cybernetic core for Banana Brain, no expansions for either player, and 2 zealots. The builds seem to mirror each other at this point, but Purple Wave is just defending the base, blocking the ramp with this 1 zealot, and Banana Brain venturing out into the open. Purple Wave is a little bit behind on supply, Banana Brain having 3 more workers, but that is basically nothing at this stage of the game. Interesting pylon placement, probably gonna be a wall of from Purple Wave's side, but I can't tell at this point. And not much else, still mirroring each other. Citadel of Adon for Purple Wave. This might lead to a Templar Archives soon, and a Dark Templar play could be a strong surprise for Banana Brain, strong and very unpleasant, is that the Templar Archives, yet the Templar Archives for Purple Wave. While Banana Brain seems to be adamant on continuing the Gateway army build. And now things are heating up, a little bit skirmish going on, but Purple Wave has the army advantage right here, so well, that might be no longer the case. One more Zealot for Banana Brain side, but Purple Wave has the defender's advantage and 2 gateways, and the cannon just completed, so I think Purple Wave is not in any serious danger at this point. And yes, the Dark Templars are out, and if I recall correctly, then there is no detection available for Banana Brain whatsoever, and that can spell the quick end for this Gentlebot. So let's speed this up, let's see who the Dark Templars will target. I feel sometimes they miss the opportunity to target and blast down the workers quickly, and that is often a mistake, but maybe not now. A few cannons thrown up hastily, so the worker line is relatively safe, but the expansion is lost for Banana Brain, and in the meantime Purple Wave is not really producing any more Templars, switching to Robotics Bay, and that is surely a precursor to Reavers and Shuttles. And Banana Brain now at a disadvantage, but not dead yet. Purple Wave can now expand, and that is just a pylon. Where is this Robotics Bay? Where is the robotics? Where are the robots? I don't see it right here. Well, anyway, let's get back to the Dark Templar shenanigans. And the Dark Templars wisely stay out the range of the cannons and just kill everything they can. Well, not anymore. I mean, the staying bit is over, it seems. And Banana Brain is not really reacting well to this. And I was completely mistaken. It was Banana Brain who produced the Robotics Bay, Robotics Facility, I mean. So probably going for some observers. Yes, the observatory is in progress. I wonder why the Dark Templars are not attacking anything here. So, and what is Purple Wave doing? Not much, it seems. Not really advancing, not really expanding, just happily mining away and building some army, but Purple Wave is not taking up a lot. Let's see, no upgrades whatsoever, and this is going to be interesting, as these Dark Templars seem to be stuck. Well, now they are unstuck, they found a new target, but yes, they are not doing the same mistake again. But an observer is already in production, I think, and when it's out, it's the end of the Dark Templar prey. Still, Purple Wave is quite a bit ahead, but somehow I feel Purple Wave was a little bit hesitant. This is backed by the lot of resources Purple Wave has. I don't know why didn't he expand or make a little bit more units. Maybe the production capacity was fully utilized, I don't know. And let's not wind back the wheel of time now. And Banana Brain is just has the numbers, right here. And Purple Wave is pushed back, and Banana Brain is yet again on the move, and supported by an observer. The Dark Templars are of diminished effectiveness now. I wouldn't say useless, they still pack a punch but die quickly. They are not a frontline unit, they are a surprise unit that can wreak havoc with invisibility. I wonder why is Purple Wave not engaging here. A little more aggressive play would benefit Purple Wave, I feel. Maybe he was just retreating to the safety or relative safety of the cannons, and Banana Brain is retaking the natural. This is good. Banana Brain back in the game, but Purple Wave now having the army advantage and the economic advantage of 2 bases, yet again on the move. Let us speed this up, because I feel this back and forth can repeat a few times. a river is in the works for Banana Brain, but there will be no army to protect that river, and they are very much support units and can stand against the enemy by their own. I wonder if there were a shuttle in production, but I don't see any. And the river is on the move, and they can be effective, rivers cleverly used can turn the tide and break armies, but I feel that point for that has passed, because it is just too many goons, and this river is left undefended and will die unceremoniously, as exemplified here. A lot of zealots, I think these are just desperation zealots at this point, and these can only play out one way. The natural is shut down very quickly, workers getting massacred. Banana Brain didn't pull them in time, not that it mattered much, I feel. And let's slow this down and consider the targeting of Purple Wave, which I feel is excellent. He very quickly picks out the workers, and the goons seem to follow some kind of local grouping, and just targeting the is within some radius the unit that they can kill the most easy. And I actually asked Dangant about this, and he explained it to me, but I can't recall the whole algorithm from the top of my head, so this is the closest I can explain it right now. Regardless, it's suffice to say that these goons are quite effective, and the goon ball is very much a thing, and they just support and multiply each other's effectiveness. And while I was analyzing this tidbit, I think it is safe to call the GG now. Very good attempt by Banana Brain. I feel the anti-Dark Templar moves could use some work. For example, instead of waiting for this observatory, just creeping up with cannons would have been quicker. But anyway, GG, and thank you for your good work on these bots. And it is Purple Spirit versus Arak Hammer. Purple Spirit is basically a Terran version of Purple Wave, and of course with slight modifications, and Arak Hammer is yet another fork of Steam Hammer, and with all these forks and ideas borrowed from each other, the family tree of bots is starting to resemble something from Game of Thrones, but again, let's not get sidetracked by that. The Arak Hammer is quite strong, but not the top bot at the moment. I think it hasn't been updated for a while, but don't quote me on that. Of course, I could just check the ladder, but that would require some effort, wouldn't it? So, Purple Spirit not rolling off, and this map is maybe not the best for that, although there is a choke point. Right here, you just can't really do it at the ramp because you start on low ground. And in the meantime, Arak Hammer is starting with an Overlord and just making a lot of drones, and there is an expansion. Yes, there is an expansion right here, and that is a risky move, but usually you can get away with it. So, with that being said, almost done with the expansion, spawning pool coming along, not really an army from either side, and the first marine is just out, but not out and adventuring. Unfortunately, this is not an RPG, you can't get experience and get stronger, you usually get the opposite and get blasted down. Poor marines, well, that's life. So, first few Zerglings streaming in, they could do a run by, but they are not doing that, and there are 4 marines now. That is usually enough to hold the early Zergling assault. There are only 6 Zerglings right here. They are not attacking anyway. No walling off still. I feel the second barracks could have been built here to block the advance of these Zerling boys, but it has not done so, and it seems that Purple Spirit is committed to a kind of a bio build. I don't know, because there is a factory, but that still can be a supported bio build, and we saw that infantry plus vultures early can be very deadly. That being said, there is not much expanding from Purple Wave. He is basically just gathering its forces and turtling up, and there is already a third base up for Rockhammer, and the third base is when Zerg starts to get dangerous, because the gas income is usually the focal point of any Zerg play, and having 3 gas is a very much turning point in many Zerg builds. So Spire is already out, and there was 8 Mutalisk spawned at once, and Purple Wave has no air defenses on the side of the base, although he had thrown up a few missile turrets, but the number of Mutalisks are a little bit worrying, and they can just pick off stragglers, and they are doing just that. I don't know how many SCVs they already killed. It would be awesome to see something like that, kill count for units, but this replay viewer is sadly not capable of that. This replay viewer has been written by TSCMO, if I recall correctly, and I don't think he really wants to do anything more with it. It is a browser-based replay viewer and has been of good use throughout the years. But anyway, these incursions dealt a lot of damage to Purple Wave's economy, but now the Bio Army is there, and only a few marines are picked out every now and then. In the meantime, the tank line is advancing. Nice Zergling attack, but they ultimately didn't kill a single tank, so it was a little bit wasteful. But the Mutalisks are doing work, and Wraith is out. I feel that's not the perfect answer for Mutalisks, especially because there is an Overlord nearby, so even if they could go stealthily, that is not the answer. Something is going on in that science facility. Oh, and that's Irradiate. It is always nice to see Irradiate, although I feel it is of greater use in human games. But that's not to say that it is useless, because a bot can just pick out the irradiated party and pull away as soon as it is irradiated, while a human usually has some trouble doing so on account of not being able to easily select the offended party. And as you can see, that is just what happened. Rockhammer quickly pulled away the irradiated poor space sausage, and in the meantime the army of Rockhammer is basically devastated. There is a few Zerglings around, but they are not doing much, and to be honest, that is probably their fate. Strong bio contingent is out, although a little bit spread out for my tastes, but still they are effectively blocking the way and killing a lot of Zerglings and generally Zerg units. Science Vessel is probing in and out, and I don't know what they are planning to do. Maybe just scouting at this point. I suspect that they are low on energy. Maybe this vessel has some, but I couldn't tell. Maybe one irradiate or defensive matrix. No defensive matrix I've seen so far, and things are looking dire for Rockhammer, although he still have five bases and a lot of income, but our tech switch is in order, and you should build something against these marines, because the Zergling and Mutalisk approach is clearly not working. I don't know what these marines were thinking. Maybe they were trying to do a run-by, but at least they died by the Sankers, and these medics are just killed by this Zergling boys here. So this is a weird game, as Purple Spirit's units seem to just not do anything. but in the meantime Purple Spirit has expanded quite a lot. Third base is up, and the economy is not much behind of Wreckhammer. Although Wreckhammer has 5 bases, he has less workers than Purple Wave, and that is all that matters right now. And these Zerglings I don't know what they are doing. Maybe there is some crash. Judging by the APM, there are some comments dropped. As you can see, these bots have quite a lot of APM, and I think over 40,000 commands get dropped by the engine, so you shouldn't really give more comments on that, but at that point you are pretty surely just spamming some, and should evaluate your orders and maybe not give them as much. Well, anyway, Zerglings are also on the move now, but I think this is just default behavior by the game, and Arakamer is basically shut down. I think he is kinda crashed. No units moving. Kind of the same thing is happening for Purple Wave, but I suspect for other reasons. Arakamer's APM is just dropped, but he is doing something. He is issuing some commands, but I can't figure out what actually. Let's speed this up, because this is basically a war of passive units. These vessels are not doing much at the moment. I feel they should try to irradiate every now and then, I mean in the worker lines. Yes, they do that. Okay, good vessel. So, with that being said, yet again not much is happening. A few Mutalisks are slaughtered, and fire bats, you don't see that often. And I wonder what's the plan with the fire bats, because they are good against Zerglings but not much else. And they still try to attack this base, which is already destroyed except for this fungus. This is a wacky game, off the rails as Nepeta would say, but I think this will just time out, or one of the players will just give up when the last worker is irradiated or something. It is 8 times the speed, nothing is happening. So yeah, this is a timeout, and I would say that Purple Spirit is a little bit ahead, but for the ego of both players, let's just call this a draw. Next up we have Violet Lily, a bot by Jaegers versus Andrew Smith's Skynet. Why that is so hard to say. A bot from the past 2013 to be precise, the first bot to use psionic storms. And Violet Lily is a fork of Purple Wave, well, a version of Purple Wave and a Java bot. Many bots are written in C++, and Java is the second programming language in popularity, just as a side info. And if you want to develop in one of those languages, head over to the tutorial section of the SSE AIT website, or you can just talk to bot authors, well, most of the bot authors on the SSE AIT Discord. Even if you're just a player, you are welcome there. Please join and hang out. So, Andrew Smith is just plopped down a thingy, gas extractor, while Violet Lily is preparing for a Dragoon type of thing, I think. No, Cybernetics core for Andrew Smith as well. So, as always, the early builds kind of mirrored in PvP. There are not many options, and no expansion from either player. Nice blocking of the ramp by Violet Lily, and no blocking, no walling off, or any advanced defense of any kind. And the chasing of the scouting probe, which is basically a ritual by now. Scouting is very valuable in both games. Well, not just both games, in any games of StarCraft, and shutting down early scouting is a great thing to achieve. but it is quite hard as you usually don't have many tools to kill a scouting worker early. And it seems Violet Lily is just going for a one-base play with cybernetics or no cybernetics robotics facility and maybe river shuttle play. I don't know. Observer for sure. Not much else at the point at this point, I feel. And in the opposing corner, Andrew Smith is just pushing with some Dark Templars. And there is two observers done already, so the Dark Templars will not be that effective, I feel, and that gives Violet Lily the advantage because Dark Templars are quite expensive and taking up valuable resources from other units, and despite that, this push by Andrew Smith is not that bad, I must say. But Violet Lily's Dragon Micro is excellent, but let's give credit where it is due. It's probably the code from Locutus. I don't actually know how much that, of that is changed. I have to ask the author as well. The author Jägers was also, and I hope will be also, a guest of the Undermine, so keep your ears and eyes peeled for him. So the goons of Violet Lily is already in the backyard of Andrew Smith, and I feel he can't really do anything at this point, not throwing up any cannons. Some cannons on the high ground would be good, but Violet Lily just has the advantage. It's a 2 versus 1 base play, and the Dark Templars will not save you now. There is a Reaver in the backline just crawling about along with a shuttle. That's very important. Shuttles can prolong Reaver lives quite a lot, and we have seen a very good Reaver plays from many Protoss authors. And I feel this can only go one way at this point. I don't see Andrew Smith going against this many goons, and basically he's just streaming freshly spawned gateway units, not even gathering the army, while Violet Lily is a little bit more considerate and having a little bit better thought out army movement. It is not a big surprise. After all, these bots have come a long way, and I really mean a long way. This is what 6 years of difference looks like, and yeah, I would say Skynet, Andrew Smith's Skynet still holds up very well, but ultimately it is no match for the newcomers. So let's speed this up, because I think we all know where this is headed. Let's just enjoy the massacre while it lasts, and let's call the GG. And the penultimate game for today, it's Proxy versus Dragon. Proxy is a quite strong macro Zerg, as I have said before, and Dragon is another project by TSCMU, quite good and tricky Terran player, and one of the only Terrans that seems to use Valkyries for some reason. Well, anyway, let's see how they open this game. A lot of workers for Proxy, maybe an early expansion. Yes, that's an early expansion, and getting scouted by this fine SCV boy here. And in the meantime, an early guess that probably means we will see a mech play, but I'm not sure. I just have a gut feeling about that. And spawning pool as expected, of course. Spawning pool, and yeah, I wanted to speed this up, not down. And scouting drone is not killed, almost killed, but still the merry chase is going on. Well, it is kind of customary now. And a factory, another factory probably for Dragon. Let's slow this back down. No, that's a starport actually. And the first Zergling army is pouring out, already 3 hatcheries. Strong opening from Proxy. I like this style. and probably already scouting out the next expansion, because Proxy is a little bit aggressive with expansion, and as a Zerg you kind of have to anyway. Smartly not engaging here, although that is not necessarily a good thing, since the vultures are out and they slaughtered the Zerglings in a heartbeat. First freight is out and there is absolutely no air defense for Proxy, although there are a few Sunkens that can keep the vultures out, but no air defense whatsoever. I wonder if there will be, is that an evolution chamber, or no, that's a Hydralisk clan. Maybe you should go for an evolution chamber here, I don't know. Both seem to be reluctant to use spore colonies. I don't know exactly why. It seems to me that a well-placed spore colony can defend you against this kind of incursions. Not much else, mind you, but still it is not very costly, and you're gonna need an evolution chamber at some point anyway. Instead, many bots prefer Hydralisks, which are okay units versus anything, but they are not great. And in spite of that, I don't see any Hydralisks in production. Maybe Proxy had the money saved up for something else? I don't know. And the aforementioned Valkyrie is out. I don't really know what form. Well, he can effectively kill a lot of overlords, that's for sure. And I'm wondering why is a dragon not going for the overlords. After all, wraiths are much more effective versus air than they are against land units. Valkyries are okay, but they are meant to be used against swarms and large group of units, not poor overlords by themselves, although they can kill them just fine, as exemplified here. In the meantime, a little bit marine and vulture army is at the doorsteps, but they don't dare to engage because there are still 2 sunken colonies and a few Zerglings lurking about. And first Hydralisk is out, but it is not targeting the Wraith. Oh, that's a mistake. I feel Dragon should expand this at this point. He is at the perfect position to do so, and he can harass a lot with very few units. For some reason he's not doing so, but there is just one Hydralisk. You can outmaneuver it very easily, but Dragon is not doing that. Let's speed this back up. And I wonder what is the plan here. A lot of Hydras are out, so I think the time for harassment is over. But the Hydras are not that great against this army. I think they can hold, but well, if you use them that way, that is, because just running away is not gonna kill your enemies. So no tanks so far from Dragon. And no third base. If yeah, there is the third base, but it is not mining yet. And it seems that a lot of Hydralisks are made, but they are not used wisely. I don't really see them attacking. Perhaps there is some. Now they attack, and there must be some logic that they must be over a certain army size to engage, which is fine, but as we saw here, it is not the perfect micro. Well, anyway, they are on the move and they are quite vicious and shutting down this third base by Dragon. So Proxy is a little bit back on this game, in this game I mean. But the Bio Army has arrived and they will shut down this incursion. And the army composition is very interesting for Dragon. It's Marines, Medics, Wraiths, a few Watchers and now Science Vessels, but not many of anything. I don't really know what Dragon is going for. And the income is there, 61 workers for Dragon, that's quite a lot, almost double of the enemies, and the first tank is out. I would bet at this point that Dragon will win the game, but let's not be hasty about this, because fourth base is in progress for Proxy, and this third base is well, almost burned down, and I had a suspicion that would happen. Apparently Dragon has no repair logic for his buildings, and I'm wondering, well, maybe the Hydralisk will take care of that anyway. And the tank will... no, the tank, why is not firing? I think these Hydralisks are definitely in range. Well, anyway, they shut down the command center and more Hydras are just streaming in. And this is an excellent example of gaps in your bot programming for both sides. As you could see, the Irradiate was damaging all these units, and you could easily pull away. That is if you coded that. So it seems that for Proxy, Irradiate avoidance logic is not there, at least for Hydralisks, and for Dragon you should repair your burning buildings. And this is a very interesting engagement, as neither player is having a large enough army together, but they are engaging weirdly anyway. This tanks keeps sieging and non-sieging without firing on anything for most of the time. I mean, he managed to fire, but somehow the army is not growing as quick as I would expect it to for either player. Maybe a lot of skirmishes are going on at the same time. That's the reason. Another base for Proxy, nicely done. Well, he is a Knuckle Zerg after all, and another base was snuck in here in the meantime. I think things are looking up for Proxy, but the army advantage is still at Dragon's side, and along with the economic advantage. And let's just speed this back up. Nice defensive matrix on that vessel, probably was threatened by some nasty Hydralisks, and the bio army is pushing in. I feel Proxy has the basics in economy and macro, but not really understanding, or that's not a good word, but not really having the perfect logic for engagements. And I say this with the best of intentions. I know how hard and long and difficult it is to program a bot, and I thank each and every bot author who has ever participated in this. I'm just making observations and not trash talking any bots. This is a friendly competition after all. So in the meantime, I saw a lurker dying here. Yeah, lurkers could have been a good answer, but Proxy, you are late with them. Sorry, but quite simply that's the case. Only 2 tanks and a lot of bio for Dragon, and the economic advantage of Proxy just vanished. The worker count is dropping. I think that Irradiate on the Overlords has taken its toll, and yeah, I think the vessels did a lot of damage here, and I mean really a lot. So how many vessels do we have? 6 vessels, and let's take a look at their energy levels. Yeah, they are quite low. That means that they've been busy. This lurker is not doing much here, and there is always the detection overhead. Dragon is just meticulously, slowly advancing and winning the game. I feel this was a pretty equal matchup, but Proxy needs to improve its army and engagement logic, or I don't know, I'm just making observations at this point. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you for watching this week's broadcast. My name is Shonko, and I have a site called makingcomputerdothings.com, where I blog about bot development and have a podcast about the same topic. Check it out if you're interested. Thanks again, and goodbye.